on with us as we take a look at the timeline of the Russian oil sanction waiver, because that will help us understand where this entire sanction story is actually emerging from, why the Trump administration in fact thought that this was a good idea for the globe and for the American consumers as well. So let's look at the Russian oil sanction waiver timeline. March 5th to 12th. Remember, around 2 months ago, March 5th to 12th, US issues an initial waivers, which is the general license of 33 and 134 for Russian oil to India and Russian oil that is already at sea. So these were two general licenses that were issued in March, and remember that the US-Iran-Israel crisis started on February 28th. So in March on 5th and 12th, between that intervening week, what the US did was initiate the first sets of sanction relief. This is for oil to India and Russian oil that is in fact present at sea. Now, let's in fact look at the next, then we look at April 15th, where Bessent says, who's the Treasury Secretary, that we will not be renewing the Russian oil license. So, after they start off with the waivers, we have the Treasury Secretary Bessent, who is saying that they will not be renewing. This is on April 15th. Now, we are in May. So, then on April 17th, the Treasury issues GL 134B, a new waiver for oil loaded as of April 17th. So, even though he stated that on April 15th that he was not going to renew the license, we are seeing that 2 days later they renewed 134B, and this is a new waiver for oil that was already loaded before April 17th. Then April 17th to May 16th, what's the status over this past month? The waiver is active through May 16th to ease energy prices. We've obviously been seeing that energy prices are creating a sort of a crisis across the globe. So this waiver continues to be active. Now, what's ongoing is a narrow temporary relief amid the Iran conflict. Broader sanctions remain. All right. So this is what we are trying to tell you, that this is a very narrow, relief that has been put in place, and the broader sanctions that are there, in fact, that continue to be in place against Russia. Let me also go back to Ambassador Fabian. Ambassador Fabian, I also want to understand your observation regarding the credibility of the US, because European allies, NATO allies will obviously, they have been asking the Trump administration to not fuel the Ukraine war, and this is in turn helping Russia get more revenue. That's what even the senators are saying. So do you believe that the credibility of the US also is diminishing in its partners' eyes, like the NATO allies and the European allies, because of decisions like the waivers?
It is the credibility is diminishing because of inconsistency is increasing. Remember once America put in extra sanctions on extra tariff on India because it was importing oil from Russia, and that's sort of prolonging the war. And at that time, America itself was importing fertilizer and more things from Russia. So the argument that anyone who imports anything from Russia is sort of giving Russia the money to continue the war is not a correct argument. And at the same time, let me remind you, European Union also was importing. So why did America pick on India alone? So America is very inconsistent, and for us to spend time in looking for consistency in America's policy is a waste of time. And as you correctly said, America's credibility is going down. And let me put it this way, President Trump, as the president of the most powerful nation, militarily, economically, diplomatically, is working hard to accelerate the decline of America. MAGA in the world.
Absolutely, Ambassador. In fact, let me also rope in Dr. Kohli back into this discussion. Dr. Kohli, as an economist, do you believe that there are certain conditions that are forcing the Trump administration to take this stance? Because we are seeing crude oil, the barrel prices have touched almost $110 per barrel. We are looking at the prices of fuel and gas in America, which is almost 4.5 US dollars per gallon, and there are a set of conditions. We are also seeing inflation rising in the US. Do you believe that is the reason why we are seeing the Trump administration take such actions? Because the Strait of Hormuz remains to be choked, and the only option that the globe has is Russian oil for now.
I feel this is a recipe for disaster which America has made for itself. America itself is responsible for closure of Strait of Hormuz. Well, NCTC Chief Joe Kent, a month and a half ago, resigned because he categorically said there was no reason, there was no threat of from Iran on America, first of all. So the whole action, and a lot of senators, a lot of people around America have questioned President Trump's action against Iran. And look what the action has done. It has brought recession. It has brought recessionary conditions around the world. To some of the countries, it has brought recession already. America by itself, its GDP has gone down to 0.4%. I'm talking of the last recorded quarter. And to my mind, these numbers are not real. In my opinion, America is already in recession. So are some of the most developed European countries. So he's brought the world down to a condition of recession because the cost of living, and worse situation is, Shivani, because of the cost of living going up in most parts of Europe and America, there is a very dangerous economic situation called stagflation. Stagflation means when your GDP stops growing, and on the other hand, inflation hits you hard. So it's a double whammy on people. You're squeezed from both ends. He's brought the world down to that level. Thankfully, in India, we were growing at a very healthy rate. So we have a bit of a slowdown because of inflation, oil crisis, but not the kind of condition which Europe and America are facing. So he's brought the world in an economic chaos for his own deeds. And I think America, he has to face midterm elections in November. The preliminary survey says that his approval ratings have sharply fallen down. So he's in a catch-22 situation. He can't get out of Iran. He can't attack Iran now. He's just moving pillar to pace. He went to China, which has been of no avail, no conclusive remark or a declaration coming from China, which categorically states that he's still stuck with this whole Iran thing. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't want to attack now. He's been threatening of attack, that he's going to remove them from the map. He's going to remove their civilization. But where are all those threats? Only he knows. He keeps saying things which he doesn't even know what happens next day. They disappear into thin air. And he doesn't have now he can't face people by pulling back from there. So I think this situation of stalemate in Strait of Hormuz is going to bring more economic devastation in America. And, he's going to lose elections. And my worst fears are that he's not a very good loser. If he loses, we all remember the 2020, Capitol Hill episode when people climbed up and his supporters, they created havoc in the Capitol Hill. So I think the things are heading towards a disaster. If for every day of Strait of Hormuz remaining closed, it is not just the global economy which is suffering, but American economy. Because as you rightly said, gas prices have shot up to 4.5. In some of the states, Shivani, it's gone up over $5. And this used to be $3 before the war. So look what he's done. Despite America being the largest producer of oil, America itself is suffering because of the problem of pricing. So I think he has to take any decision soon. Senators are against him. General American people are against him. Only a handful of group of MAGA seems to be supporting who are around him. We'll have to wait and see if he still has the mandate of people of America, Shivani.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Kohli and Ambassador Fabian, for that insightful discussion.